What's going on YouTube? So of course the Ford Explorer has always offered a wide variety of trim levels to make sure they meet everyone's needs. And one of the needs that the Explorer is designed to meet is the need of the enthusiast. This is the 2025 Ford Explorer ST. And ST means that this has 400 horsepower under the hood and is designed for athleticism. So let's go ahead and take a look at it. Let's go ahead and start off by taking a look at the exterior design. Now, obviously the ST is going to have a sportier appearance, and you can tell that right from the beginning here with our grille. So for 2025, of course, you've got this new shape where the grille itself is enlarged, but we also have this nice gloss black finish, which is gonna go all throughout with this mesh, giving it a more aggressive look. The other thing that you're gonna get is Explorer badging that actually runs across the hood. Many of the trim levels are eliminating that for 2025, but you still keep that with the ST and the ST line. So I do want to point out, you can get a very similar aesthetic to the ST I'm showing you with the ST line, but that's not going to have the performance of the full ST. Now, let's take a look at our headlights. We do have a full LED arrangement. These aren't going to be the projector style adaptive ones from the Platinum, so they're just going to be reflector LEDs, but we still have LED daytime running light and turn signal indicators, as well as LED fog lamps. Now moving on to our wheels, the ST comes standard with the largest size option in the Explorer lineup. This is a 21-inch alloy wheel. We have a special design on board, and we also have this nice dark gray finish. The other thing I like is that in between the spokes, you can see these brake calipers. These are performance brakes painted in red, and overall that's a nice look. All the trims, no matter which one you choose, are going to come with a matte black cladding that goes around the lower parts of the body, and all of the trims are going to come with the gloss black finish for our mirrors. Now, as far as the features, you're going to have blind spot monitoring, as well as heating and power folding and auto dimming. Now, as far as the side is concerned, all Explorers really have kind of an athletic side profile view, but one thing that I want to point out that is new is the fact that we've got this blacked out roof option. I think this looks really, really cool, especially here on the ST. It just really adds to that sporty vibe. Now, be prepared though, it is going to cost you, if you want this option, it's just about $5,000 if you want the black painted roof. Now, as we move around to the rear, you're also going to notice some more aggressive elements back here as well. Of course, you've got your ST branding. Down below, though, is where you're going to notice that we've got the quad-tipped exhaust outlets. This is the only trim where this is standard across the board. You do still have a 5,000-pound tow rating. It's going to be blacked out back here between our two headlights, or taillights, I should say, which are going to be fully LED. And then you've got the black spoiler up top. Now, as far as safety is concerned, we are going to have all four of the active safety features as standard equipment, and Blue Cruise is standard as well. But let's go ahead and check out what you get on the inside. But first,
if you're new here, we're brothers, and we've been reviewing cars since we were 12
and 16. We may be young, but we love cars.
And we'd love for you to subscribe to be a part of our Car Confections family. Let's learn a lot, have some fun with all the latest cars.
Now let's go ahead and hop into the interior. We do have our typical Ford key fob, but you'll notice that it is ST branded specifically, so I like that touch. And you do have smart entry. Just reach behind the door handle to unlock the door. Now, there are unique elements in the interior, and we'll go ahead and get into that, starting with our seats. So as you can see, with these seats, we're going to have a performance bucket seat. That means you have leatherette trim on the outside edges, but the center section is going to be completely finished in a suede Alcantara. This is going to help, kind of grip you in place when you're cornering more aggressively. There's also a little subtle accent. If you look closely back behind here in the perforation, you can see the ST branding, kind of almost an Easter egg type thing. Down below, we've got all the same adjustments as you get on the Platinum trim level. You even have the power massage, and you've got Ford Performance down there on the bottom. But let's go ahead and climb inside. And I do want to point out that we're on a bit of a time constraint, and we're just really focusing this video on what's different about the ST specifically. If you want to learn a lot about the overall Explorer lineup, make sure to check out our full review where we went through all the features with the Platinum trim level. But as far as the materials in here, they're a little bit different than the Platinum, just in the sense that you don't have faux wood. You're going to substitute that in for a faux aluminum. You still have the metal speaker grills, leather over most of your common touch points, soft touch plastic along the top there. We've got this large speaker grill, which runs through the center, and more of this aluminum and leather finish that goes all through these areas. We do have a matte finish down here on our console as well. We'll go ahead and fire it up with our push button start. Now that I've fired it up, let's look at some specific details. Just like all the Explorers in the lineup, we've got the 12.3-inch digital gauge cluster. You do have different designs that kind of pop up when you change to your available drive modes, including Sport, which will be relevant, obviously, in this model. No head-up display is offered on any trim level of this Explorer. One thing that's also different, though, is our steering wheel. I'm a big fan of this steering wheel. We've got a flat bottom steering wheel with ST branding. We also have really thick side bolsters here. So this is a very nice feeling steering wheel in the hand. You also have power adjustment, and additionally you've got paddle shifters versus the other trim levels. Taking a look at interior storage, that of course will stay the same between the models. So you got a good size center console area. This is enough space to fit 14 donuts. We checked it earlier. We've got our 2 cup holders right there. Press that open. You've got a nice large storage bin. Inside you've got some USB connections as well. And then we've got the new storage tray up here for 2025 with the left-hand side being a wireless phone charger. As far as the shifter is concerned, just a typical Ford rotary style. Twist over D for drive. Again, you've got those paddle shifters I was pointing out earlier. When you go into reverse, this will pull up a 360 camera on almost every single trim level of the 2025 Explorer lineup, and you can switch between several different views easily right there. Twist over to P for park. You have an electronic parking brake. You also have a brake hold function. Now, as we continue up the dashboard area, the next place you come to is your volume knob, as well as a few additional random buttons. In terms of your audio system, ST is actually the top trim in the entire lineup for 2025, meaning it's going to have the best audio system, the 14-speaker Bang & Olufsen sound system. We gave that a sample a short time ago in the Platinum trim level, so we'll go ahead and play that clip. Now, picking back up in this area, let's take a look at our climate controls. We do have a 3-zone automatic climate setup. It's integrated into the bottom of this display. Everything is very responsive and easy to adjust. Even though the ST has performance seats, you still get seat ventilation, which is something I'm very happy about, in addition to your standard seat heating. And let's talk about this display. So, huge improvement over the 2024 model, because we got a 13.2-inch display. It's also coming with Ford's new digital experience system. So we've got brand new graphics. We also have built-in Google Apps. So you've got Google Maps. You even have things like YouTube, so you can watch that while you are parked, of course. And then you have wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay ability. Finally, as we wrap up the front of the cabin here, you have an auto-dimming mirror. HomeLink remotes are inside of the visor. And then I can push this button here that will roll back the sunshade for the available panoramic sunroof. And now let's go ahead and talk about our rear seats. So once again, in our main full review, we went through all the specific details. I'll be a little bit more brief here because there's not much different about the ST versus the Platinum trim level. You're still looking at about 38 inches of legroom, also about 38 inches of headroom. More than enough space. You can stick your legs out here if you're 5'8", and this is my driving position as well. And you still end up with 8 inches of knee space, so plenty of space for adults. Of course, the seats slide back and forth. They do also recline as well, and this is the captain chair arrangement. Your lower trims can get a bench seat instead. In terms of features, we have our 3-zone climate, as I mentioned earlier. We still have 2-stage heated seats. No ventilation is available. We've got some USB connections as well as a nice household plug and some cup holders that fold out right there. The door trims are going to be nicely finished. We've got lots of leather. We've got a sunshade to block the sun. Down below, you'll notice that we've got plenty of storage as well for bottles. Now, as far as your third row is concerned, you can just grab that switch there and kind of pull it forward. I am noticing versus the Platinum, it doesn't have the like self-propulsion where that one kind of just moves itself without your input. As we get into the third row, you know, by and large, this is going to be exactly the same experience. We're looking at about 30 inches of rear legroom. This isn't a class leading figure, but it is pretty good, especially if you slide this second row seat forward a little bit. The seats themselves are going to be a little on the flat side, so you don't have a lot of thigh support if you're an adult. So this is definitely going to be best for kids. In terms of features that an adult or a kid would appreciate, you do have rear vents, and you also have 2 more charging USB ports. Let's take a look at our cargo capacity. We do, of course, have a power tailgate with the ST as well as the entire Explorer lineup. Back behind here, you're going to notice about 16 cubic feet of space. One of the things I like about the ST is, just like the Platinum, we've got a power folding third row. So when I fold that down, we're going to be just under 50 cubic feet of space. And then if you go forward and fold the second row down, your maximum capacity on this model is going to be 85 cubic feet. As far as how that stacks up against the competition, that is right in line with most of the competition, kind of in the middle of the segment. There are some outliers like the brand new Traverse and the Grand Highlander. Those are going to have about 15 more cubic feet of space than this, but this is very, very similar to what you find in the Honda Pilot, for example, as well as the Kia Telluride and Hyundai Palisade. Of course, we kind of have our stuff in the way here, but if I lift that up, you'll see you've got some storage under there. Below that, there's also a spare tire.
All right, guys, we are finally behind the wheel of this top performance Explorer ST. And in this test drive, we're going to be talking about a lot of different things, as you can see on the screen right now, as well as getting our signature Car Confection sound level reading. And if you don't recognize my face, just know that I am Josh. I am the newest member of the Car Confections team, and I am joining Drew on this trip as Mason is currently out on a cruise. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this hard acceleration.
Okay. That's the sound of 400 horsepower. So with this ST, basically, this means business. So what Ford has done, of course, as you know, is give you that 3-liter twin turbocharged V6 engine. So you're going to have quite a bit more power than what you get with the standard 2.3-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine. That's going to be 300 horsepower. This is 400, so you have that additional 100 horsepower and even more than that in your torque difference. And that's going to power this thing up to speed quite quickly. Dang.
Whew, you really feel the performance and the push of all of that torque, 415 pound-feet of torque.
Yeah, this is definitely not your average family crossover. That's really the big thing to emphasize about this ST. You know, we talked about the additional styling things you get on the outside, some of the differences in the interior, but that underneath the hood there, that's the biggest reason to get the ST, and just the fact that Ford really puts it all together as a package as well. So while you've got that power, which feels fantastic in sport mode, by the way, like really dials it in to make it even more aggressive, you also get the extra dynamics that go along with it. So when you're feeling the steering behind this cool flat bottom steering wheel, you're going to notice that this really handles quite nicely, especially for a 3-row SUV. Body roll is very minimal. You're also going to have a quick response as soon as you turn the steering wheel. And overall, even though the roads are pretty straight here, you can just easily tell that this is far more athletic than the average thing in this segment. This would blow out of the water most things that this competes with, between the rear drive architecture, the power under the hood, all of that together just makes this really stand out as just a unique choice, kind of an enthusiast choice, you could say, in this segment.
And if you're thinking, I don't really want all of the performance dynamics of the ST, can I get this refined V6 on another trim level? Well, the answer is yes. This V6 is optional on the Platinum trim level, and you'll be able to equip that with all the luxurious features that you can get on that trim level. And if you're curious as to what is on the Platinum, we have already posted a review of the Platinum that you can go check out on the channel as well to see what that top luxurious trim level offers you. All right, guys, we are currently going 55 miles an hour for our Car Confections sound level reading. Let me go ahead and put it on fan speed 1 and see what we get. Wow, we are sitting at 53.1 decibels for this 25 Explorer ST. Now that is a very good sound level reading, but I don't have to sit here and guess how it compares to all of its competitors, because I can go to carconfections.com/sound level readings to see it, put it in a chart with all of its other competitors. Now 53.1 will put the Explorer as one of the quietest in the segment. That is a very good sound level reading, guys. And if you have watched our other Explorer review and realize that there is a little bit of a differential, just know that this is not an official rating. We are currently up in Michigan driving this Explorer, and so we can make sure it's official once we get back home down in Kentucky and get a model down there for you all.
Right, typically Michigan roads are really beat up, but we actually found one that looks like it's been paved relatively recently, so this is quite smooth overall. Yeah, you can certainly take some corners with a little bit of speed, because this Explorer can more than handle it. Now, let's also talk about the other key aspect of the powertrain, that's having a very responsive transmission. And we do have a great 10-speed automatic on board. If I punch down, this transmission will drop numerous gears to give you the power that you want very quickly. I'm super satisfied with this because it's both smooth when you're driving around in a kind of just normal way that you would with a family SUV, but also very fast and responsive when you decide to get aggressive with it and enjoy all 400 horsepower.
And we've mentioned it a few times at this point, but I do want to reiterate that the Explorer is built on a rear drive architecture, and so you have standard rear wheel drive for all models, and every model also has optional intelligent four-wheel drive. And we will have a few different fuel economy ratings for this Explorer. If you get the 2.3 liter four-cylinder, you'll get either 24 or 23 mpg combined, depending on your drivetrain. And for both drivetrains of this V6 model, you'll be sitting at 21 mpg, which is a really good rating for a V6. It's honestly comparable with many of its four-cylinder competitors, but one thing to note is that at this moment there's no hybrid or plug-in hybrid Explorer being offered, so that will not be an option if you are shopping within this model.
Now, as we bounce down I-95 here in Michigan, this is a good time to talk about ride quality. This is an important consideration if you're thinking about should you get the ST or another trim level of the Explorer, because this definitely does ride firmer in the ST trim level. We just got out of a Platinum earlier today, and even though the wheel size was the same, definitely had a smoother ride on board with that Platinum. Additionally, I gotta say that, of course, because many of the rivals aren't really even trying to target performance, they are going to ride significantly better overall. This is going to be on the rougher side of things inside of the segment, as you'd expect. You don't get that handling characteristic without firming up the suspension a little bit, so that is what Ford has done here with the ST. So let's talk about today's slam dunk and airball. I'm going to start off today with our airball, and that's going to be related actually to the ride quality I was talking about earlier. Again, this is not horrible ride quality, but the thing is that for the price that this is selling at, it's a pretty expensive SUV, you're going to see that in just a second. I really would like to see adaptive dampers on this, because if we had that, we truly could have that dual character that this otherwise really excels at, but that would really seal the deal for me on getting the ST trim level if we had the dual character enough that we could have just sublime ride quality going down the interstate, and also be able to firm up and have that great handling when we went on a back road.
Yeah, and on the slam dunk side of things, we're gonna slam dunk the fact that the ST still exists. We're very happy that there's still a true enthusiast mid-size 3-row SUV that exists with a starting price below $60,000. It's great to have something that's more than just an appearance package. This has the sporty looks and it has the performance to back it up with, and we're just very happy to see that continue on for this year.
Now, of course, as we mentioned earlier, this does have available Blue Cruise, so we have Blue Cruise 1.2. In our experience here with this brief drive down the interstate, I've tried to activate it 3 or 4 times and it keeps turning itself off. So I do believe this is a full production version. I'm not sure exactly what's going on. I took my sunglasses on and off, but it keeps scolding me that I'm not watching the road, even though I clearly am. Just wanted to point that out for the fairness of this review, that we are having some problems with this, but it could be related to just this specific unit.
Now, Drew and I have been gushing about the performance of the ST for the entirety of this video, but truly haven't had a chance to show it off to you guys yet. But since we are on this press launch of the Explorer in Ann Arbor, we do have the exciting chance to do a little bit of autocross with the Explorer ST today. So let's go ahead, without further ado, and get into that. All right, guys, I'm here. I'm about to start and try my hand at some autocross. Now, keep in mind, I'm not the Stig from Top Gear, but we're gonna try and see some of this Explorer ST's capability. So I'm gonna have a clip before and after, because I'm gonna try and focus while I'm driving. So let's get to it. Woo. All right, guys, 2 laps later. I think I shaved off a few seconds. You might be able to tell by the timer at the end of each lap. I think I shaved off about 4 or so seconds, but let me tell you guys, it drives like a Mini Cooper more than it does an Explorer. Definitely an awesome experience. So glad that Ford brought us out here to try it out. I'll say the Explorer handles beautifully in sport mode. It really tightens everything up, gives it good throttle response, and I think even from the outside you can hear a lot of the turbo blow-off valve. So if you're a tuner guy, you might like that as well. But overall, great experience, handles incredibly.
Let's go ahead and talk about pricing. So the entire lineup is going to be displayed on the screen right now. As far as this specific model, we have a pretty aggressive price point. Again, I was mentioning, this blackout roof option is $5,000 by itself. So when you start to factor in that option as well as our destination charge, we're landing at a total price of $66,185. Now, if you're interested in getting the best price on a Ford Explorer or any new vehicle, we would encourage you to go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes. When you do that, that's going to allow you to see the best price from local dealerships in your area, as well as get access to invoice pricing, which is a great tool for negotiation. If you're interested in any of that, make sure to click the link below in the description or the pinned comment at the top. Well, guys, we hope you enjoyed this review of the refresh 2025 Ford Explorer ST. If you found this to be useful in any way, make sure to help us out by clicking subscribe below. When you click subscribe, that tells automakers such as Ford that you value our content and that you want us to attend all the latest programs so that we can show you guys all the latest cars. If you're already a fan and subscriber, we thank you for your continued support, and we look forward to sharing with you more of the latest automotive delicacies.